Right now on 16 Morning News, the St. Joseph County Metro Homicide Commander is retiring after over a decade at the helm. We'll tell you who's in line to replace him. Plus, the investigation continues into the death of an Indiana native killed by a lion at a North Carolina zoo park. We'll hear from one of her friends who says she died doing what she loved.
Now we're starting out the new year with clouds, maybe even a shot of snow and rain showers early. I'll have a look at the weather forecast coming up.
You're watching WNDU TV. 16 Morning News starts now.
Happy New Year, everyone. We are starting 2019 off with a wintry mix of snow and rain. You are taking a live look over the Notre Dame Stadium where the NHL Classic will take place later on this afternoon. You'll want to dress warmly if you plan to go to this game. It's going to be rather chilly today. Well, meteorologist David Harker joins us now from the Storm Team 16 Weather Lab. He's got a closer look at today's forecast. Happy New Year, David.
Happy New Year to you as well. It seems like I haven't seen you since 2018, Tricia.
All right, thank you, David. On to a developing story now. The St. Joseph County Metro Homicide Commander is retiring after serving 17 years in that role. Tim Corbett will cease to be commander on February 1st. However, he will continue to work one day a week as a cold case investigator and to pursue other career options.
You know, it's not like I'm quitting. I'm just going on to a different phase, and I'm still going to be here tracking people down, and we'll be successful. And I've been, I signed a letter of intent with a production company from LA. So they want to do some things with me on TV. Apparently nobody else wants a job, so they called me.
The new commander of the County Metro Homicide Unit will be former St. Joseph County Sheriff Mike Grzegorek, who worked homicides before becoming sheriff. Well, right now, North Carolina officials are looking for answers after a lion at a wildlife park escaped and killed a 22-year-old intern. And now we're hearing from her friend about this tragic loss. Family and friends of 22-year-old Alex Black are grief-stricken. The Indiana native was only 2 weeks into her internship at the North Carolina sanctuary when she was killed. Investigators are trying to understand how the lion was able to get out. Black's former co-worker at an Indiana wildlife park says she died for a cause she loved.
The world has lost a person who really was able to speak one-on-one and understanding their connection with animals.
The lion seen here in this online video was shot and killed by deputies. Black's family is remembering her as a beautiful young woman who died following her passion. Well, right now, a plane crash investigation in Michigan is on hold because of the ongoing government shutdown. As a result, police in Saginaw County say they are being forced to rack up extra costs to guard the crash site. 83-year-old Bill Burns died on Sunday when a small plane crashed into a building, and while Burns' body has been carefully removed from the wreckage, the damaged plane remains, and an autopsy has yet to be done. Because of the government shutdown, which is now in its second week, the FAA cannot send out an investigator at this time. Well, the mother of a murdered 7-year-old Texas girl is speaking out from her hospital bed. LaPortia Washington is asking the public to help find the man who killed her little girl, Jasmine Barnes. She says she and her 4 daughters were going to the store when a red pickup truck pulled up next to them and started shooting. Washington was shot in the arm trying to shield her daughters from the gunfire. Once the shooting stopped, one of her daughters looked at Jasmine.
She said, "Mama, Jasmine's not moving, she's not talking." I turned around and my 7-year-old was shot in the head. My baby comes and asks me, "Where's my sister? Is she coming back?" She's only 6 years old. She does not deserve to wake up without her sister. It's not fair.
And now a desperate manhunt. Police have released this surveillance image of a mysterious red pickup truck. They're also looking for the gunman, possibly a white man with a beard in his 40s. An update closer to home, a man accused of vandalizing a church in Grand Haven, Michigan could spend multiple years in prison. 32-year-old Anthony Wabendado faces 4 criminal charges, including a 5-year felony count of malicious destruction of personal property. He is also accused of planting 15 large firecrackers inside the church and attacking 2 employees. No one was hurt in the incident. Wabandado's mom says her son has mental health and drug problems. Well, new this morning, Michigan's minimum wage is rising by 20 cents an hour starting today. This makes the minimum $9.45 up from $9.25. A ballot drive gathered signatures for an initiative to set it at $10 and ultimately $12 in 2022. But Republican lawmakers scaled it back with outgoing Governor Rick Snyder to $9.45 and delayed the $12 minimum by a number of years. Well, we want to get to our question of the day since so many of you said your New Year's resolution is to lose weight. What is your favorite way to get some exercise? Is it walking, running, swimming, or maybe playing a sport? Let us know by heading to our website, WNDU.com. We're going to bring you the results at the end of our hour. And if you're on a treadmill watching the show, good for you. All right, coming up, answers could soon be on the way in the death of a Saudi journalist. We're going to show you the new video that may shed some light on what happened to Jamal Khashoggi's remains. Plus, calls for justice. A security guard at a California store is now charged with murder in the shooting death of an unarmed homeless man. The penalty he could face if convicted.
And we're not seeing a lot of precipitation across our area to start out the new year, but we still could see some snow and rain in our forecast today. I'll tell you when, coming up after the break.
You're watching WNDU TV 16 Morning News.
A peek outside showing you the stadium at the University of Notre Dame. It's hockey today that we're going to be talking about as the Bridgestone Classic is today's featured game at 1 o'clock today right here on NBC. We've got live coverage just ahead this morning. Well, new today, a murder charge has been filed against a security guard who shot and killed an unarmed black man in a California drugstore. Police say a homeless man was gunned down by an armed security guard at Walgreens in early December. Donald Vincent Ciota II approached Jonathan Hart and accused him of shoplifting. The altercation turned physical, and witnesses say while Hart was running out of the store, Ciota shot him from behind. Ciota is now charged with 1 count of murder. He is scheduled to be arraigned on Thursday. If convicted, he faces a maximum sentence of 50 years to life in prison. Tragic news now out of North Georgia. Police in Gwinnett County are investigating a murder-suicide involving 2 teenagers. Officers say 4 teens, ages 16 to 18, were hanging out on Monday in a makeshift shed in this residential neighborhood. One of the teens took out a gun. It accidentally discharged, killing one of the other teens. Investigators believe the shooter then shot and killed himself at a house just a short distance from the shed. New information this morning on the death of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. While there's been no accounting for what happened to his body, new video has emerged that appears to show men moving 5 suitcases near the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, where Khashoggi was last seen alive. A Turkish TV station says the video was shot on the day the Washington Post columnist disappeared. So far, there's been no response from the Saudis.
Let's get into our forecast.
If you are planning on attending the Bridgestone Classic game today, there is some important information you need to know. And News Center 16's Melissa Stevens is at Notre Dame Stadium this morning, and she joins us now with those details. Good morning. Happy New Year to you, Melissa.
Happy New Year, Tricia, and to everybody else watching. You know, this is an exciting day here on the campus of Notre Dame. You just mentioned it. The hype is building. In fact, the really cool thing to note is this is only the second time the NHL Winter Classic has made its way to a college campus. The first was back in 2014 when it made its way to University of Michigan. And this also marks the 11th year. So really cool stuff going on. But getting to that information, if you are heading to the game today, there are some things that you do need to know. Now, all parking lots at the stadium will open in about a half hour at 7 a.m. Gates at the stadium will open at 11 a.m. with the game starting at 1 p.m. It's recommended that you do show up early, though, since there could be traffic delays around the area, and expect security screenings at the stadium. Now, make sure you dress warm for the game since it will be outdoors. There will be no re-entry to the stadium if you do leave, and Notre Dame's clear bag policy will be in place for the Winter Classic. And speaking about bags, they will be checked when you enter the stadium. Now, there will also be a few buildings on campus today open if you do need a spot to hang out before while you're waiting for the puck to drop. They include the Joy Center, which will be open from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., the Hesburgh Library, which is open from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., and the main building on campus, which will be open from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. as well. And in terms of transportation, this is cool because the South Shore Line actually will be adding an extra eastbound train this morning and an extra westbound train this afternoon. So if you're coming in from Chicago, you got that covered. And so we will have more on this coming up within the next half hour. Tricia?
I am just so grateful that the major amounts of rain, it's over. Boy, yesterday, I'm so glad it wasn't yesterday because that was a drencher.
Yes, it was. And as you see, there are a few drizzles and flurries right now, but as David mentioned, we should be good for the game. So yes, thankfully it's not yesterday.
Yeah, we can handle this kind of stuff for sure. All right.
Yeah,
well, you look good
absolutely.
on the new year, Melissa. We're so happy this is finally here. So much excitement building for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, and be sure to stay with News Center 16 for continuing coverage of the Winter Classic. Don't forget, you can catch the game right here on Channel 16 at 1 this afternoon. Coming up, 'tis the season of New Year's resolutions, not only for adults, but for kids too. We're going to share how all you parents out there can help your children set good goals. Plus, a priceless family heirloom is found at the bottom of the Dowagiac River. We're going to share how social media helped reunite this medallion with its rightful owner. David, well, it is the first day of the year, which means many people are making those New Year's resolutions, including kids. The American Academy of Pediatrics has some tips to help your children achieve their goals. Preschoolers can resolve to clean up when they're done playing with their toys and put them away. Children ages 4 and younger can also work on being friendly to all animals and be nice to other kids who look sad or lonely. Parents can also encourage younger children to brush their teeth twice a day and wash their hands after using the bathroom. Kids in elementary school can focus on being safe in the new year. Pediatricians encourage kids between the ages of 5 and 12 to sit in the back seat of cars, use the seatbelt at all times, and to always wear bike helmets. They can pledge to mainly drink reduced fat milk and water and only drink soda or fruit drinks on special occasions. They can also promise to speak up when they see bullying and to not share personal information online. Meanwhile, teens can pledge to limit their time watching TV or playing video games to no more than 2 hours a day. They can also pledge to say no to alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, and e-cigarettes. And when they're ready to date, teens can pledge to treat their partners with respect. And finally, teens are encouraged to promise to never text or use a cell phone while driving. Good ideas. All right, Christmas might be over, but we do have another gift for you. It's the story of two women, strangers, who by luck, or maybe fate, found each other and something rather precious this holiday season. On Christmas Day, an overjoyed Joanne Johnson picked up a precious gift from a total stranger. It's the wedding ring she lost while shopping in October. That stranger, Shiloh Avery, had posted on Facebook that she had found a ring in her brand new Instapot that morning. But for Johnson, this Christmas was already a miracle. 4 years ago, she was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer.
Instead of only having 6 to 18 months to live, I'm now 4 years living with cancer. And now to find my ring, it was like, okay, frosting on the cake.
While Johnson, who once didn't think she would live to see this Christmas, now has another reason to celebrate. The two women say they are bonded for life. And another lost and found story. An Indiana family is rejoicing this New Year's after a missing heirloom is discovered. A medallion made to honor the life of a child who suddenly died is now back in the hands of its rightful owner. News Center 16's Lindsay Stone has the story.
A day out on the Dowagiac River. Peaceful and full of surprises.
It still gives me goosebumps to think about the whole thing.
Two lives intertwined by a common thread, buried at the bottom of the river.
I never thought I'd ever see it again.
A rafting trip almost 3 years ago brought heartbreak when Josh lost his most prized possession.
This is my son. He passed away from SIDS in 2004. It's kind of a major deal. It hit our family hard, and
A medallion to honor his late son got tangled in the reeds and fell to the bottom of the river, lost forever, or so he thought.
I found a locket in the Dowagiac River.
Years later, a fisherman found the mysterious medallion and tucked it away in a junk drawer, certain he'd never find who it belonged to. By this time, Josh had bought a gold ring that would be the new heirloom he'd pass down to his surviving son, who surprisingly was born on his late brother's birthday.
My wife was on me to clean out my junk drawer the other night, or a couple weeks ago, and so I did, and I found it, and I'm like, all right, guide season's over, it's time to put it up on Facebook.
The post racked up over 4,000 shares and viewed over 198,000 times. In a matter of hours, Dustin had found Josh.
It has a lot of sentimental value, just through my family, for my kids, and for this guy to find it 2.5 years later in the bottom of a river. It just doesn't happen.
But it wasn't just finding the medallion that made that day so special.
I think the most amazing part of the story is the fact that Josh had found the gold ring to kind of replace that medallion and told his older son he was going to hand that down to him as an heirloom. And then he lost that the morning that I put this medallion on Facebook. It gave me goosebumps when he told me it. I couldn't believe. I said, "You actually lost it yesterday morning when I put it on Facebook?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "You know, I couldn't figure out why I lost it, but I didn't. Now I know." He's like, I didn't need it anymore."
Josh had been reunited with the priceless medallion thanks to the help of social media users across the country.
Facebook and Instagram, they get such a bad rap, for deservedly so sometimes. But this is a spot where, you know, it was a good thing. It made a difference in someone's life.
What a great story from our Lindsay Stone. Coming up, it's not confetti falling from the sky on this New Year's Day. Instead, a mix of rain and snow. David has your forecast coming up next. Plus, a state trooper shot and killed a man along an Indiana highway. Why the man's friends say the shooting was unjustified.
You're watching WNDU TV. 16 Morning News starts now.
Breaking overnight, a serviceman home on leave for the holidays is now dead after a shooting in Berrien County. It all happened at around 11 p.m. in the 2000 block of Colfax Avenue. Police found 23-year-old Tyrone Hassel III with multiple gunshot wounds. He was treated at the scene, but later died at a hospital. Anyone with information is asked to contact the St. Joseph Township Police Department or Crime Stoppers at 800-342-STOP. Let's turn to weather now after tough news to start our 2019. We are starting the new year off with a wintry mix of snow and rain, and you are looking live right now at the stadium at the University of Notre Dame, where the NHL Classic will take place later this afternoon. And you'll need to dress warmly if you plan to go to the game. It's going to be rather chilly today. Meteorologist David Harker joins us now. Happy New Year, David. What can we expect with this forecast today? Thank you, David. An investigation continues into the death of an Indiana man shot and killed by a state trooper. And now friends say the shooting could not have happened the way law enforcement says it did. Friday evening, 57-year-old Glenn Reitzel was repairing an SUV along the side of US 231 when he was reportedly shot and killed by an Indiana state trooper. This is video that a witness took from across the street. Police say the trooper noticed a gun in Reitzel's waistband and he allegedly reached for it. But friends say that can't possibly be true.
No way can I see Glenn doing the things that this officer said. If he reached for his gun, it's a bullshit lie. Glenn would have never done that. His heart was pure.
It was a senseless of what happened. And I know that the good Lord's got another angel with him.
The name of the officer has not been released. Meanwhile, a state police investigation continues. A man in Missouri now faces several charges after police say he gunned down his girlfriend and 3 of her family members. Richard Emery is facing 15 counts in the death of Kate Caston. her children Jonathan and Zoe, and her mother Jane Meckel. He is also accused of stabbing and injuring another woman while running from officers. The victim says the suspect approached her, attempted to take her car, and then stabbed her multiple times. Neighbors are still in shock that something like this happened so close to home.
You don't want to read about something bad that happened in your neighborhood in the New York Daily News. You're alarmed because you don't run into that, right? You don't run into that in this area ever.
Prosecutors say Emery and Caston had been dating for over a year. Flowers, balloons, and teddy bears have been placed outside the home where the family was killed. Well, right now, a search is underway in Oklahoma City for a suspect who shot through a drive-through window at a Taco Bell after he didn't get the sauce he wanted. It all happened early Monday morning. Police say the suspect fired 2 shots into the drive-through window because he didn't get the taco sauce he wanted. The employees inside the business locked themselves inside a restroom and called 911. Thankfully, no one was injured, and police are still investigating. They have not released any other details. Right now, 3 former inmates and an employee are facing charges for their roles in smuggling drugs in the Elkhart County Jail. Our partners at the Goshen News say warrants were issued last Thursday for Craig Green Jr., Eric Flynn, James Woodard, Taryn Pratt on trafficking charges following a 5-month-long investigation. Court documents show Green coordinated the operation to move synthetic marijuana into the jail through Pratt, a kitchen staff worker. Acting on a tip, police found Woodard on July 10th with a large rolled-up baggie of synthetic pot. Woodard later told police Pratt and Flynn were also involved, naming Flynn as the keeper of the drugs. Well, Notre Dame head hockey coach Jeff Jackson has hit a milestone and he set a new record. Monday night's game against Boston College marked his 308th career win at Notre Dame. That's the most wins in Irish hockey coaching history. As the 6th-ranked Irish defeated Boston College 4-0 last night, Jackson surpassed the legendary Lefty Smith for the most coaching wins ever in Irish hockey. The Irish used 2 power play goals, one by Matt Hellickson, the other by Cullen Thiessen, in addition to a point shot from Matt Steeves and an empty netter by Dylan Malmquist. After the game, Jackson downplayed hitting the milestone.
To me, it's a very overrated statistic because there's so many people involved in every one of those wins, you know, amongst the players specifically, but our coaching staff, which is one of the best in the country, if not the best in the country.
Jackson's record breaker comes as Irish women's basketball coach Muffet McGraw also set a new milestone, becoming the 9th women's basketball coach ever to reach 900 wins. We want to get to our question of the day. Since so many of you said your New Year's resolution is to lose weight, we want to know, what is your favorite way to get some exercise? There are the choices. Is it walking, running, swimming, or maybe playing a sport? Let us know by heading to our website, WNDU.com, and we'll bring the results coming up a little later on. Well, in about 20 minutes, less than. All right, coming up is the government shutdown inches into the new year. Federal employees are now suing the government over a lack of pay. Plus, it's official. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren says she's exploring the possibility of running for president in 2020. We're going to hear from her on why she's deciding to enter into this new phase. Welcome back. Happy New Year, everyone. Right now, the government is facing a lawsuit filed by federal employees who are being forced to work without pay during the ongoing shutdown. About 420,000 essential workers are still reporting to work but not getting their paychecks. So the American Federation of Government Employees took the nation to court on Monday. The union says the work without pay requirement violates the Federal Labor Standards Act. So far, no comment from the White House. Well, Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren says she's exploring the possibility of running for president in 2020. The Democrat made the announcement outside her Massachusetts home on Monday. Senator Warren says she's ready to go head-to-head with President Trump over the costs of housing, health care, and education.
I never thought I would run for anything ever in my life, but America's middle class is getting hollowed out, and opportunity for too many of our young people is shrinking. So I'm in this fight all the way.
As for her strategy, the Massachusetts senator says a grassroots campaign with small donor dollars and volunteers is the way to go. David, well, it's an exciting day on the campus of Notre Dame as the Bridgestone NHL Winter Classic is just hours away. And if you happen to be headed to the game at the stadium, there are a few things you need to know. News Center 16's Melissa Stevens is at Notre Dame Stadium this morning, and she joins us now. You know, we've been watching them build this stadium into an ice rink for some time now. It's finally here, Melissa. Coming up, gas prices are expected to dwindle into the new year. We're going to tell you how much you can expect to save. Plus, if one of your resolutions is to get healthier, we're going to share some good ways you can stay on track and see the most success this year. Welcome back, everyone. We have some good news for all of you drivers. Gas prices are expected to hit a 3-year low on this first day of the new year. According to AAA, nearly 20% of states are enjoying prices below $2 a gallon. It is the lowest start to the new year since 2016. Retail averages are expected to continue on a downward trend into the new year, even as the demand dwindles after the busy holiday travel season. Now to a New Year's health alert. If one of your resolutions is to get healthier, there are some good ways to make sure you stay on track. A behavioral expert at Spectrum Health says making changes is easier and more successful when you have a good support system in place. If your goal is to eat better, then you should remove all the junk food and other temptation from your pantry and refrigerator. Also find a way to celebrate small success and milestones. Just don't go overboard. And finally, go easy on yourself. Focus on the positive changes and remember that change is a gradual process. Good reminders, David.
Yeah, they sure are, Tricia.
Thank you, David. Hey, we have a cuteness alert for everyone. A Berlin zoo just released footage of this 27-day-old polar bear cub. Its arrival is particularly special for the zoo after the mother, Tanya, previously lost 2 babies. This video is showing Tanya cleaning and feeding the cub, and finally the 2 bears snuggling. Just a tiny little thing. And on the topic of polar bears, on one of the coldest days of the winter, a time-honored New Year's Day tradition to take the plunge. People in several cities across the U.S. will trade in their winter coats today for swimsuits to take what's known as the polar bear plunge. Here's video of an event from a year ago when people raced from a beach in Boston to the frigid waters awaiting them. I guess it could be colder, right? Well, it's time now for the results of our question of the day. We're asking about your favorite way to get some exercise. And look here, walking is the overall favorite over running, swimming, or playing any kind of sport. That's what I like to do too, walking. Started out with running, but you know how it goes. Turns into a walk jog that turns into a walk. All right, well, good luck with all your New Year's resolutions. Coming up, we're going to take another look at weather and a check of your day's top stories as we start 2019 off right. We'll be right back. Just a few minutes before the top of the hour, we have breaking news from overnight. A serviceman home on leave for the holidays is now dead after a shooting in Berrien County. It all happened at around 11 p.m. in the 2000 block of Colfax Avenue. Police found 23-year-old Tyrone Hassel III with multiple gunshot wounds. He was treated at the scene but later died at a hospital. Anyone with information is asked to contact the St. Joseph Township Police Department or Crime Stoppers at 800-342-STOP. Well, St. Joseph County Metro Homicide Commander Tim Corbett is retiring February 1st after 17 years, but he will continue to work 1 day a week as a cold case investigator and pursue other career options. The new commander of the County Metro Homicide Unit will be former St. Joseph County Sheriff Mike Griskoric, who worked homicides before becoming sheriff. North Carolina officials are still looking for answers after a lion at a wildlife park escaped and killed a 22-year-old intern. 22-year-old Alex Black was only 2 weeks into her internship at a North Carolina sanctuary when she was killed. Black's family is remembering her as a beautiful young woman who died following her passion.
And all of us are likely to see some snowflakes and maybe even a few rain showers. That's what we're seeing on 16 Doppler max at this hour. And as we move about the day, you'll find that temperatures well, really not going to move all that much. Let's take a look at today's forecast for the Winter Classic. If you are heading out this morning, as we know, gates open at 11 o'clock, and before too long, the lots will open for parking. Really not going to see much of a change in temperatures. I think 32 is pretty popular through the day ahead and throughout the entire game as we look to today, and it's going to happen right behind us.
Isn't it a lovely view?
It's gorgeous.
All right, now remember the Rose Parade. You can catch it right here on NBC this morning. There's a special edition of the New Year's Day Today show coming up next. But we'll, of course, be staying on top of this special, the NHL Classic. Thanks for joining us on this January 1st, 2019.